Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cinco de Mayo 2025 Lackawanna City Council meeting and caucus. We will start with the caucus, and again, that's an opportunity for the city council members to discuss the various items on the agenda for tonight's meeting. We discuss it amongst ourselves if necessary. And at the general meeting, at the formal meeting, we will then vote on each of the, or take appropriate action on each of the line items. We may have public speakers or for this evening. I would just remind everyone that the meeting is being recorded and you should act accordingly. Moving right into the meeting agenda, first several items up to communications from mayor or administrative. So we'll start with item number 3. Mayor, I file request City Council approve a resolution waiving residency requirement for a new city attorney. The current city attorney's last day was May 2nd of this month. I believe we all had an opportunity to review the informational packet that our city clerk provided us on each of these items. Anyone have any issues or questions on item number 3 or our new city attorney, Adriana Kwiatkowski? Anything you want to add on that?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any questions, city council? Moving on to item number 4, Mayor, following request city council approve resolution urging New York State Assembly and Senate to pass the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. That's a cost savings item and recycling item. Makes sense. Any council members wish to address that item number 4? If not, moving on to communications from council. Or 5 council members survey 4th Ward wishes to attend the NICOM conference May 28th through May 30th at Bolton Landing. I don't see a problem with that. Council member, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, it's NICOM, which is New York Conference of Mayors. It's their annual meeting and training school. They have over 20 workshops covering a wide range of central topics. There's an Albany update, and there's class on navigating state and federal funding. I like going to that stuff. Maybe there's a marijuana one. So, thank you.
All righty. Well, we'll look forward to your information when you come back.
Right.
Any council members wish to address item number 5? Communications from division department heads, number 6. Director of Development and Marketing, Chuck Clark, request City Council approve resolution to adopt seeker negative declaration for the construction of the new City Hall project. If I understand this correctly, Chuck, this is primarily informational only, right? There's no action really being taken here.
That's correct. The City Hall project was deemed a type 2 action, which means that there's no significant environmental impact related to the project. Type 1 projects are significant environmental impact. So if you deem something type 2, technically you don't need to go through a seeker. But out of an abundance of caution, CPL did a seeker for the construction site because their concern was they needed to do one for the new city, or for the old City Hall demolition at some point. So they just did it out of an abundance of caution. And when they did the paperwork that should have been included with the bond resolution last September, they forgot to have you sign it. So really, we're just taking a clerical step to complete the seeker paperwork, but really we didn't even need to do seeker at all.
Yeah, well, thanks, Chuck, for clearing that up. Any council members have any questions on that particular item number 6? There's also a corresponding resolution. Item number 7, Senior Foreman Gherkin requests City Council authorize City Clerk to begin bid process for general contractors for Kirby Avenue paving project. Foreman Gherkin, anything on that?
No, just your standard bid process that we go through for every job that we contract out.
Thank you. Any council members have any questions or any comments on item number 7? Item number 8, again from our senior foreman, Gherkin, request City Council authorize sale of 2014 Ford Escape proceeds from the sale will go to equipment budget line. Again, Foreman Gerken, anything you want to add on that for the public's consumption?
No, it's just an older vehicle that, it's in decent shape, so try to sell it, get some revenue from it while we can.
Very good. Any council members have any questions or comments? Item number 8. Moving on to item number 9, again from Foreman Gerken, request City Council approve Grasshoppers Inc. for the demolition of grandstand in Phase 2 of the Veterans Stadium project. Lowest bid, Grasshoppers was the lowest bid of $131,000. And what does that entail, Foreman Gerken, as far as what they're required to perform?
So that's the complete demolition of the concrete grandstands, hauling away of all materials, and then doing a rough grade of the ground after everything's removed.
And that covers the cost of the hauling away of the material?
Correct, that's complete cost, yep.
Very good. Any council members have any questions? Moving on to item number 10, again from Foreman Gerken, request City Council approve refurbishing of the Ridgewood Village and Cleveland basketball courts. Money is left from Urban Initiative Grant in the amount of $84,907 for this purpose. Foreman Gerken, anything you want to add on that?
No, sat with the mayor and she thought that would be a great usage of the balance of the fund from the Urban Initiative Grant to repurpose 2 more basketball courts.
Thank you. Council members, anything on item number 10? Item number 11 from our city clerk, request City Council approve the use of Senior Citizen Center by Board of Elections for early voting, primary election June 14th through the 24th, general election October 25th, November 3rd. Grace, anything you want to add on that?
No.
Any council members have any questions? Item number 12, Chuck Clark, or strike that. Don't know where I got that from. Kathy Moran, Director of Parks and Recreation, request City Council approve the use of Memorial Field by Ali Mohammed's Baseball League, insurance to be provided. You wish to address the council on that, Director?
I'd like to withdraw that request for this meeting. There's an issue with the insurance and I think it's gonna take a little bit longer. They have time, they're not looking to use the fields till the end of the month. So I gave them a little bit more time to get that worked out so they can get their certificate of insurance to us for the next meeting.
And there'll be enough time for them to start the
Yes.
league, so on and so forth.
Yes.
Very good. All right, any council members have any comments in 12? If not, it's going to be withdrawn, and we look forward to it at the next meeting. We got item number 13 from our city attorney, request City Council rescind and replace Chapter 190 solid waste ordinance. City Attorney Adriano, anything you want to add on that?
No, nothing to add. This is just a codification of the changes that were approved at the meeting on April 21st.
Yeah, it's just the ordinance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Council members have any questions on 13? It's corresponding ordinance attached there too. Moving on to item number 14, again from our city attorney, request City Council approve resolution entering into an agreement with Erie County to prepare the city tax bills. Adriana, we've done this in the past with the Erie County with our tax bills, correct?
That's exactly correct. Same process as we implemented and the council approved last year.
Thank you. Any council members have any questions on that particular item?
This was what we were doing prior, what we were doing prior to last year was we were printing them ourselves, but then we understood that the replacement of the machine would have costed more than outsourcing it. But
Right.
long-term, outsourcing it far exceeds the price of a printer. I know we were looking into other avenues of doing printing as far as buying the machinery. Has there been anything fruitful from that search?
I haven't heard anything further, but I believe the bottom line was the cost of even the paperwork, the paper itself, let alone the software and the mechanics of doing it far outpaced the utility of it. And it was a better deal to have the county operate it. I don't know.
Yes, yes, if I may, Your Honor, that's my understanding as well. I believe it was the cost of the software and just also the manpower. Obviously, in the treasurer's office, I think there are 2 people who are responsible for it. And I think long-term, this was propounded as a solution for really the cost of the software, the cost to print it, and the man hours devoted to
And we had no
accomplishing it.
issues with them last year of taking the task on, the county taking the task.
Correct, it's my understanding everything was done correctly, and they did it under budget,
Thank you.
of course.
Okay. Anyone else on item number 14? We got item number 15, City Controller Jacqueline Dole. City Council approve the ordinance to transfer funds for the Veterans Stadium Rehabilitation Project. Jacqueline, where do these funds originate from? Do you remember? How they were provided?
They were provided to the general fund, and I believe they were through the
The urban initiative.
urban initiative, yes.
Through Erie County.
Yep, through Erie County.
And so it's, do you know offhand what the costs are to the city on that? Dan?
They're-
No cost.
It's all,
Total grant rewarded, it was $800,000 for the, for the urban grant, for the urban initiative grant, $800,000, and that's for the previous 2 years, $400,000 and $400,000.
and so that's sufficient to cover the cost of
Correct.
this particular,
And the city received the check, correct?
very good.
Yes.
Any council members have any comments or questions? 15. There is an ordinance, corresponding ordinance attached. Item number 16, again, City Controller Jacqueline Dole requests City Council approve the ordinance to create a revenue code for county aid and to also create an expenditure code, stadium demo, concrete bleachers, and basketball court. Apparently this wasn't done in the past, and Jackie, you're requesting that for what purpose?
Because I need council's approval to create an account in order to properly house them, so we can track them for accounting purposes.
And for accountability purposes, is
Yes.
that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Any council members have any questions or comments on 16? Corresponding ordinance attached there too. Moving on to communications from citizens, number 17, Brandon Falvo requests Commissioner D status. It's pretty pro forma. I don't see a problem with that. Moving on to business registration, Sunny Reds LLC. New owner, business registration, David Beers. Anyone have any questions or comments on business registration A? Moving on to business registration B, Public Auto Connect, 1754 Abbott Road. Nicholas Korskowski, used car sales, formerly Trinity Motors. A bunch of information was supplied to us on this, covering various aspects of this application. My take on this personally is it's more complicated than just either denying or granting a business registration. First of all, this has been an ongoing business at that corner. I don't remember whether they've had problems in the past or not, but this is a continuation of that business. Unfortunately, a business registration certificate had been issued, I think in error or an oversight or whatever the case may be. Whatever the reason is, we are faced with the fact that that has been issued and need to deal with that accordingly. More importantly, there's been numerous comments from the public as well as the opinions rendered by the various department heads responsible for follow-up and investigation regarding new business applications and their compatibility with the community, so on and so forth, and their compliance with various code requirements, etc., zoning, whatever the case may be. There are several issues that seem to pertain to this particular item, and maybe this evening we'll hear from residents. I was supplied with a number of photographs and complaints about vehicles being driven up and down the street that were not appropriately licensed. Cars were being parked on the street without proper licensing. I don't know how many cars are going up and down the street without licenses. I don't know if the complaint is that the cars are going up and down the street from this business location, or the cars are going up and down the street and not having an appropriate New York State license, or a dealer's license, which I'm sure they could just attach to the vehicle, which would bring them into compliance. To my way of thinking, I don't think our statute goes deep enough into these kinds of issues. What we're faced with as a council, in my opinion, is to decide whether or not this new corporate entity should be granted a continuation of the business certificate that they were already granted. The feeling and the opinion of the people involved in reviewing this application come to a point that says they don't believe a business registration should be issued. My opinion is this is a code enforcement issue, that if there are violations of the code, we need those enforcement issues to come forward first, have those enforced, and then if there's a continuation of those problems, perhaps a review of the registration or the issuance of a business certificate or a continuation of the business certificate should come before this council. And it should come before this council with due process. The owner should be cited, and if the offending items are cumulative to a point where it requires the attention of the council to seek a revocation, that has to be done by a hearing. It's got to be conducted through the law department, in my opinion. Now, Adriana, you and I have spoken about this. You understand where I'm coming from. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. Yes, I agree. It's my understanding, and please, Grace or others, correct me if I'm wrong, that this entity was issued a license under the Public Auto Connect name.
Correct.
So from a legal standpoint, I believe that we would be looking not at approving a new business registration, but looking at a potential revocation, if that is what the council deems appropriate. I think the statute, the city code is clear that when you're dealing with an entity or a corporate form that already has obtained a license, that revocation is the proper vehicle to seek, if any, with respect to revoking the license. So I agree with you on that point. And with respect to the showing that the city would need to make in terms of the revocation, the statute sets forth particular bases for which a revocation may be sought, including where the business is adversely affecting the public good, welfare, health, safety, morals of the city, or such that the continued operation of the business constitutes a danger to the public good, welfare, safety, health, or morals of the city. So I think the city needs a bit more clarification on what the exact issues are with the property, whether they're code enforcement issues. I know we hopefully will hear from members of the public or surrounding neighbors, but with respect to what exactly the issues are at the property, I think the city needs more information to determine whether or not a proper showing justifying revocation would be possible.
Yeah, I think that's what we're faced with.
Council President,
Council members, any questions?
if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
So one of the challenges to that site, going back years, not recently, there's been no site plan requirement on that location. So to the point of how many cars can be there on the square footage of the property. If we did in some way continue them, site plan is absolutely critical, because otherwise there's I don't want to say there's little for the code enforcement people to go on, but how do you arbitrarily say there's too many cars on the lot when you don't have the site plan criteria against it? So one of the things we would encourage, regardless of anything else, is if it goes forward, site plan is a requirement that they got to go through.
Okay, procedurally, how does that happen? Since a site plan wasn't required initially.
Now, that's.
Because
that's
this
okay.
issue is gonna come up again, as it did today, for me, having been contacted by a residence pertaining to a used car lot on South Park and Sharon Parkway, which is an ongoing issue.
Well, we've been discussing about bringing that particular car lot in for a site plan review as well, because if I'm thinking of the right property, there's two adjoining properties. One has a site plan requirement with a number of cars, and the other one does not. So in that case, because it's the same owner, we're planning to bring them in. But I think, again, to your point of code enforcement, one of the challenges out there is there's cars all over that lot, and it's a very small corner lot. And oftentimes they're spilling out onto both sides of Barlow Avenue, even sometimes spilling into the former Cozy's gas station lot for all of us old timers. It's called Brian's Automotive now. So there's cars all over that lot. with no prescription as to a maximum number.
Okay, so let's, for argument's sake, how do we justify a revocation of a business registration based on no violations?
I hear you, I understand you.
Yeah, the
I'm not arguing that point at all.
No,
If-
but
if-
I'm just arguing out loud.
Yeah, if you
That's
go,
what we're
if,
faced
if there's a determination to allow them to continue operating, I would respectfully request that it involve a site plan. Not that it shuts them down, but it gives them prescriptive limits on how many vehicles can be on that lot at any one time.
And I think procedurally, Adriana, we need to know how does a business that has been existing for a number of years be required to now file a site plan? And if that may be subject to review or denial, again, at the planning stage.
Yes, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I looked into this briefly with respect to another issue last week, and it's my understanding from a plain reading of the code that a site plan can be approved, modified, rejected, et cetera, upon application. So it's a good question that I'll need to look into, because I'm not sure what the procedural mechanism would be for the city to say, you have to come in so that we can either review a proposed site plan, issue a new one, denial, the wording of the particular wording of the code says upon application.
And I think further, the problem is gonna be grandfathering the business in because they've conducted themselves under those auspices for so many years, and now the cities may be looking to restrict the business operation. It creates problems, as far as I can see. Anybody have it?
I do. So we're speaking about two separate entities, if I'm not mistaken. Public Auto is the one that's applying for a business license today, correct?
Actually, they have a license already. It was issued
And-
by error, I wanna
Okay,
say.
so they're the one that's seeking our approval.
Right.
So Public Auto is seeking approval. However, it was formerly Trinity Auto.
Trinity, right?
And Trinity Motors is dissolved, just for argument's sake. That's no longer, correct?
As far as we know, they are no longer in the picture.
Okay, so they're done with. So in reality, Public Auto should they have come before the zoning and planning board to start with the steps in order to get the appropriate variances?
In
for-
retrospect, yes.
just like the one down the street on Ridge, he had to start from fresh, and he asked for variance for the additional
Yes,
vehicles.
so the only difference here, and again, I'm not justifying why it happened, it's a reconfiguration of a similar ownership group, to my understanding. So Trinity Motors and this current one they're all the same group that own them, just one person's taking the lead on this new one where another member of the group was under Trinity.
But it's under another corporation.
Oh, no, yes, it is,
So
but
we would treat it as if it was two
from my
separate
perspective, it
entities.
should have been, but it wasn't treated that
Well,
way.
and I don't know if there's appropriate language in our statute that says for a new entity is required to file a new business certificate for it. I don't think that's covered.
If I may, I believe based on the definitional provisions or the definitions in this particular chapter of the city code,
Yes.
I believe that business, as it says that no person shall operate, open, or maintain any business without first being issued a certificate of business registration. And I think that within the definition of business would be a new business or a new corporate entity
Okay.
operating or applying. So I interpret, or would be my position, that as the code is written, the new person operating the new business would need to apply for a new business license.
Okay,
So
all right.
so we should have treated this as if they were two complete, regardless of the owner versus partner, none of that should have mattered, because in reality, it's a whole separate corporation from Trinity.
It's a new business entity.
It's a new business entity. I believe that's
So if
correct.
I owned both, I can't change the name and just resume operating because I'm the owner of both businesses. I should have come in front of zoning and planning
Well-
and with a site plan.
With all due respect, now as I'm thinking about it more, this particular facility, so it's zoned properly, so that's not an issue. They don't need to come before zoning. And there were other than a sign, there were zero changes to the logistical layout of the property. So in that particular case, there is no, they don't need to come
So they
for a
never
site
needed
plan
to come
review. No, the only time they do is if they're making material changes to the building, the inventory flow, or the ingress and egress of the property. They were doing nothing other than changing corporate ownership and a sign,
But with
Or the
the
nature of the business.
overflow,
or the nature of the business.
but
this,
with the overflow of vehicles, that didn't matter to increase, like, you can't just multiply vehicles that you have on your lot without getting the variance through planning.
I understand that, but they were not implying that they were doing that. They were just implying that they were basically running the same operation with no change
No change.
to the
And
operation.
that's where you guys mentioned code enforcement would have come
Right.
into play because they
And
would
whether it's a car
possibly-
dealership or
Mechanic.
a grocery store or what have you, that same philosophy applies. If somebody shuts down a grocery store and walks in new entity but doesn't make any material changes to it, they don't come back for a site plan. They just go through the business registration process. That's the way it's been handled. Whether we agree or disagree with that is up for debate, but that's the way it's, so those guiding points are change in the business, change in the structure, change in any other material way that the business operates. That's where it gets looked at again.
But if I may, I think it would be helpful from the law department's perspective to know what has changed. If it really is just a changing of hands and a continuation of the operating business, why now is it a problem?
Well,
And I think that goes to the revocation, potential revocation piece.
I think it would be beneficial if the law department looked at what changes may trigger a review or
Of
a
the
site
site
plan.
plan.
So, yeah,
You're right.
What-
Shouldn't they have listed, how many vehicles they're gonna have housed on the lot that would fit within the parameters of whether or not they're violating the variance?
Oh,
There- there is no
there is none. There was none.
So why is it, okay, cause I vividly recall the one down, in the first ward, they had a specific amount of vehicles that they can only have at a daily parked. And with the addition, he was required to come in, apply for a variance, and, it was up for vote through the planning board.
I don't know what project you're
So-
talking about.
The only car lot in the first ward, the dealership near Sultan's.
I don't know, Amira.
Okay,
Did-
I'm just curious as,
I don't know.
does this guy have endless possibilities to park however many cars he wants on his lot? Who's to say that he can or can't?
well, that's the issue. I think what we're dealing with is what happened initially when they opened that used car lot. If no restrictions were ever placed on it, then no restrictions could be placed on it now.
Well, you can't park in the street with no license plates on.
Well, that's
You
an-
can't drive up and down the
That's an-
street, so
You-
obviously there's.
What do you mean you
there's
can't drive up and down the street?
No.
With no
It's a
plates
street.
on,
Without-
With what?
with no license plates on, it's.
Well, that's an enforcement issue, isn't
well,
it?
Yeah, is there a file?
So you close down a business because they're driving up and down the street?
No.
Without
No, I'm
a
just
a
saying,
license
I mean,
plate.
there's a definite problem
It's
there.
a
You got
code
too many-
enforcement issue,
Well, I mean, can you park unregistered cars on a?
and that's a
no
police
plates on?
enforcement issue.
Well, that's my point, is there?
But you don't reach the point of closing down a business.
No.
Because of it, right?
No, I understand that.
As far as the revocation part, we would only go that far if we were to deny this business registration request, right?
Say that again.
The revocation that Ariana, you said to,
Well, I think, notwithstanding the circumstances by which the license was issued, we are and should operate under the assumption that they already have a license because it was issued to them. So that's why the revocation piece would come into play or be applicable.
but if we had
because-
no issues with this and we were gonna pass this hypothetically, if we were gonna pass this today, we wouldn't have to go down that road. No pun intended.
I think that's right. I think it would be up to the council today to decide whether they want to treat this as an initial application, as potentially a revocation or tabling it for further consideration.
Well, a revocation would need a hearing,
Exactly,
so we
yes.
can't revoke it.
Not today,
No.
no. But if we voted to pursue a revocation, I believe the statute says, within 10 days of the decision, the business owner needs to be put on notice, and then there would be a public hearing, which would take place within 30 days.
I think what we need to look at is whether or not either state law or local law allows a continuing review of site plans generally. And the need for them. And if it's a continuing review and ongoing ability for the city to do that, we can call any business in at any time if there are problems regarding a site plan or the need for a site plan review. That would solve the problem. I don't know if that language is in that statute.
I do not believe it is. I have the registration provisions of the city code in front of me, but I looked at this particular issue last week with respect to another property owner that the city was having some issues with or received some complaints about, and I did not see the language in the statute, so I think it will require further research.
Because as I said earlier, it's not only this on Abbott Road in Barlow, but it's also on South Park and Sharon Parkway. Same issue exists.
Understood.
Councilmember Maflahe, if I may, just going back to your question, I don't remember or recall the specifics of that project. In a general sense, site plan review would be required if there was a change in use of that facility. So let's just say it were a gas station or a mechanic shop and now it's selling cars, okay? The other trigger would be, let's just say it were a car lot and it was shut for more than a year, irrespective of who owned it, okay? So again, not remembering or
Right.
recalling any of the specifics of that. If any of those two criteria were in play, that is why a site plan could have been asked for in that case.
I just bring that up, I didn't want to compare it or say, why is this favored over this, or why didn't this happen versus the other location. My reason for mentioning that was that there was a limit of vehicles that could be on the lot. That's the
Well,
only reason why.
and that's what a site plan would do. It would look at the square footage, it would look at the neighborhood, it would look at a variety of factors, and the board would render
And curb appeal, right?
all of that, all of that. The planning board would render that. Now, if they were making a material change to the business, the site plan would then be open to another review, depending upon what they were doing. I'll just take the case in point of, the dealership that's on the corner of Sharon Parkway and South Park. The owner owns two commonly owned but different parcels. One has a site plan limit on number of vehicles that can face South Park, and the other one does not have any requirement at all, and that's causing a host of problems. But that limitation comes from the planning board as part of a site plan review. And every new operation that opens up goes through that same site plan review, whether it's parking for a delicatessen or parking for cars.
right.
We did the same thing to the mechanic who's planning to buy the mechanic shop that's across the street from the new city hall. That property went up for sale. He's moving from South Buffalo. Planning board put a requirement of no more than 10 vehicles in front of that building at any given time. So it is a function of each individual project and the parameters either of timing or prior use.
Right, and again, if this business wasn't changing drastically, which there really isn't much change, how can they continue to bypass the limitations of the requirements of vehicles being parked on the lot?
Well, they have no requirement.
Right, so how do we now
Well,
put that?
that's what we're trying.
That's
We
Yeah,
need
what are the
we need
steps
an
that we
opinion
need
on
to
it.
take?
We may not be able to review that. We may not be able to go back, but we need more information from the law department.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah,
And Mr.
so-
Morano brings up the right point. I don't know
But
that we
in
have.
reality, it's two separate businesses, whereas the first one, Trinity, was able to operate without any parameters. And now we have Public, which is a brand new, fresh, regardless of who owns it and operates it, it's a brand new, fresh corporation.
Mhm.
So,
But it's the same business with so going back to the criteria, it's the same business with no change, and it has not been closed for a year. So the triggers aren't met. I'm not saying it's right.
Right,
I'm not saying it's right at
it's
all.
just a-
I'm just telling you that if it were closed for an extended period of time, or it was a material change in the use, then clearly site plan would have triggered immediately. But that's not the case. It's basically running the exact same business model, exact same facility, different name.
alright,
Anyone else? Any other questions?
would, a recommendation to table this be,
I think that would be appropriate, but I don't know what the rest of the council feels. But, yeah, I think we need more information on this.
There or no? Do they have any code violations?
Anyone else? All right, if not, then I will formally call the meeting, Cinco de Mayo 2025 to order. Allegiance, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would you call the roll, please?
Maflahe? Present. Anderson? Moretti?
Here.
Sirdike?
Present.
Morano?
Here.
Longhorn?
Here.
Development and Marketing?
Here.
Public Works?
Here.
Public Safety?
Here.
Comptroller?
Here.
Recreation?
Here.
All right, moving to hearings from citizens now. Normally, you have 3 minutes to address the council. Again, I caution you, you are being recorded. Our first request comes from Sharon Beers.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm here to represent Sunny Reds regarding our business registration. I just wanted to just clarify a few issues. So we currently bought the business. My husband and I are owners now in this business. We are renting the building at the time. So I know that there are some issues with the taxes, and that's with our landlord, Tony Galvo. We are in the process of purchasing the building. It's just gonna take a little bit of time. The lawyers have the contracts and they're working on it. So I just wanted to make that, make you aware of that. As far as, we would appreciate the business registration so we can continue to run the business while we're working through the other issues.
It's a normal course for a purchase of a new business, we understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
very good.
all right.
That's it?
That's it.
Can I-
Questions?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And Sunny Reds is a very established location in Lackawanna, very popular. But we also, as a council, hear the nuisance of noise. And I was wondering if you were privy to that, and if you have any plans to address that or to limit the noise, especially with the outdoor music that we just approved 2 meetings ago.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so what we've been doing, we've put the fence, so we're in the process of putting up a fence that should, enclose the yard a little bit, maybe bring down the noise. We will also intend to keep within the decibel requirements and the timings as described, so we'll definitely keep that in mind. We've also, our back pergola, we've enclosed and put a roof on and sides and walls, so that should block the noise from going to the backyard, to the, the residential side. So hopefully those things will keep it,
Yeah, 'cause
down. We haven't heard anything, as of yet.
yeah, has there been any live music
In the
this
back?
season
No,
yet?
no.
And it's only popular, of course, weather-wise in the summertime, so, and then the proximity of the homes to the back of the business, that's where the most noise seems to disturb the residents. So I just wanted you to be privy of that, and
Thank you.
being a good neighbor is bringing good business as well. So that's a
Definitely.
good business practice to
Yeah,
be
definitely. So I
neighborly.
think, like in closing that back, like we put a wall up, it should, before it was more open air. So this should cause like a little bit of a noise barrier, and keeping in mind that we'll, continue to follow the rules and around that.
Very good.
Yeah, and Sharon, I think the stage used to abut the residents on the street adjoining, and that was part of the problem. Now, I live off of South Park, and one time I walked out of the house and I heard the music from my house, and I was wondering where it came from. Got in my car and drove, and sure enough,
It was,
it was there, so I don't know how the neighbors were able to deal with that, but it's new owners, and
Yes.
we're wishing you good luck, and we'll know you'll be good neighbors.
thank you. Yes, we intend to. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Miller?
Honorable City Council members, I would like to address the pending business registration for Public Auto Connect, formerly known as Trinity Motors. This business has been a nuisance for some time now, and the residents of this neighborhood would like them to be held accountable for their actions. On a daily basis, the business illegally parks cars. Oh, I have some pictures. They recently put up a no parking from here to corner, and these show that they're still not following these. I'm not sure if you guys want to see them or not.
Did you get this? You guys get it?
Everybody got it.
They illegally park cars. Many of these cars are on both sides of the street, up to the corner of Abbott Road. Many times the cars do not have plates on them, which is also illegal. This has led to many residents almost having near collisions due to this negligence. Turning from Abbott onto Barlow has also become dangerous. Numerous times I myself have had to stop on Abbott trying to turn onto the street while cars are trying to turn off Barlow because they're parking on both sides, they're blocking the street, and there's not enough room for both cars to get through. Blocks the line of vision. There's been many times where there's cars basically 3 deep, where they're standing in the middle of the road, they have hoods up, what have you, like working on cars, but they just totally disregard anybody in the neighborhood, like trying to get up and down the street. Another danger is the constant speeding of cars up and down the street. They're speeding in a residential neighborhood. We have lots of little kids on our street. They're going well over the speed limit. Most of the times, they don't have plates on the cars. There's been a few times where like the neighbors have been like, you know, hey, slow down, stop. Oh, we're just on a test drive. It's okay. It's not okay. You know, we live on this street. Our kids are playing in the front yards. We were told to call police and code enforcement. Unfortunately, there's only so much that they can do. We call several times, they come, they give them warnings, nothing's still been done. They're still doing it, they just have no regard for we've personally gone and spoke to them and said, you know, could you not speed down the street? Can you not park your cars on the street? And they just completely ignore us. It would be a disservice to the residents who live in this neighborhood to allow the business to remain open while blatantly disregarding the rules and the laws. Thank you.
Thank you.
You said they, who's they? The code guys or the police? They come down?
Yeah, the police have come down, the code enforcement guys have come down, they've given them warnings and stuff, but the owners, the workers, they just,
Do you know
They
if
don't
they've
care.
been,
Do you ever put any tickets on the cars or anything?
yeah, have they been
See that?
cited?
I'm not sure. That I can't say. I know I personally called the police desk and they've sent cars down. There's been several of the neighbors that have come out and actually stopped them on the street and asked them to slow down I mean, we're a dead-end street. There's no reason why they should be going 60 miles an hour test driving a car. If you want to test drive a car, go down to Abbott. Go on the highway, you know? And I'm not here to get a small business closed down. My family owns many. I'm all for small business. But when you totally disregard the neighbors and have no respect for the neighbors, and there's such a safety issue, like someone's gonna get in an accident, someone's gonna get hurt, or worse.
Gotta be a good neighbor.
Yeah, and we're all aware of that, Catherine, and we're trying to do what we need to do.
Yeah. You know, and on top of that, like they even leave the windows down on these cars that they're selling where it's pouring rain out, so then the rain's getting in the, like, I don't know, I just feel like that's bad business all around.
Do you know if any of the vehicles stay overnight? I don't expect you to monitor them, but has that ever drawn your attention where you see these cars where it's parked, no parking, marked, no, parking
Yeah,
from here to
I
corner?
believe, I mean, we've submitted tons of pictures, and I believe there was some where they were parked overnight, like over the weekend, actually, with no plates on them,
On the street?
on the street.
Because the ones that I see in the photographs, many of them have plates, but I'm assuming maybe they're customers that are there for whatever reasons, and I'm not justifying them at all.
Yeah, those were the newest ones that we've taken since they put up the
curious about
signs.
It's
That's no parking here to
corner.
Yeah, no parking.
And we just updated them signs recently, so they're brand new signs.
Yeah, they've been up a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. John Kwasniewski, former council member.
John Kozeski, 277th Street, Lackawanna, New York. Number 3, with the residency law being passed by, what is the process that you use to look for people from Lackawanna, like, to get a job?
We don't do the hiring, first of all, Jack, you know that, the mayor's office does. They post for applicants, they interview individuals and they make a determination from there who might be most suitable to qualify to fill that position. And the reality is not many attorneys live within our city limits anymore, so if you wanna hire an attorney to fill that position, you're gonna have to waive the
I'm not
residency
just saying
requirement.
attorneys, though, I'm just saying any job that was waived the rules on it. There was other jobs.
Well, you're talking about this item here,
Yeah.
which is an attorney,
Well-
and we're addressing the council agenda, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, what is the process that they use to hire outside of the city, and how do they
They
advertise?
post, and whoever responds.
No front page no more, so we can use that. in the front page.
Unfortunately not.
I know.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
sad.
Okay. And number 9, bring me up to what's going on in the stadium. I don't even know what that is, $131,000 for
They're taking down the grandstand,
the whole grandstand, the big grandstand?
the concrete grandstand.
Is there a reason why?
Well, it's just an asbestos hazard, it's structurally deficient, it's a danger. Yeah, that's why.
Who sent the paperwork and then it was dangerous?
Jack, I don't know.
I mean, know the stuff you
We
should
can't
look at.
answer that question for you, Jack. You want to maybe set up an appointment with Chuck Clark or the mayor? Or we don't have those answers.
I was wondering, I've been there for years, I've seen the stadium sat on there, I don't see any structural weakness there.
When's the last time you saw those stands?
I was there for baseball games there last year, and sat in there.
Did you ever look inside or underneath them and inside the,
Locker rooms, panel, electric,
did you ever go in there?
yeah,
When?
I worked there,
When did you work
You
there?
built them.
probably 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, you should go there today. I don't have a good answer for you, Jack.
The city code enforcement deemed the building the structure not to be safe. And we've had many studies come out. Literally, there's rebar showing, there's holes in the concrete. It's from all the weather, all the freezing, all the thawing. It's definitely not
On
safe.
top or on
Well, you can see right through now. You can't look at it now because it's closed and locked up for safety reasons, but yeah. It's in really rough shape. It's not safe.
Toe-jack then, that's in charge of that?
No, code enforcement, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 21st, 2025.
Random moves to adopt minutes regular meeting April 21st, 2025, as written.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe, to adopt minutes of the regular meeting of April 21st, 2025 as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Departmental reports 1 and 2.
Random moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 and 2 inclusive.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe, to receive and file departmental reports 1 and 2. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Mayor Iafallo requests the city council approve the resolution waiving the residency requirement for the new assistant city attorney. The current assistant city attorney's last day was May 2nd, 2025.
Random moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson, to receive and file act on resolution. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. A resolution waiving the residency requirement for the new assistant city attorney, Christy Cooper. Her position will be effective May 6th, 2025.
Random moves to adopt resolution as written.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson, to adopt resolution as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Mayor Iafallo requests the city council approve the resolution urging the New York State Assembly and Senate to pass the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act.
Random moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti, to receive and file act on resolution. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. A resolution supporting the Reduction and Recycling Act addressing the growing crisis of single-use packaging, protecting public health, reducing pollution, supporting environmental justice communities, and saving taxpayer money.
Random moves to adopt resolution as written.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt resolution as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Councilmember Sirdike requests the city council approve his request to attend the NICOM conference May 28th through May 30th, 2025 in Bolton Landing, New York.
Morano moves to approve request.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Director of Development requests the city council approve the resolution to adopt secret negative declaration for the construction of a new city hall project.
Morano moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on resolution. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. The State Environmental Quality Review Act resolution approving a negative determination of significance regarding the new city hall. This will not result in any large and important impacts, and it is an action that will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Negative declaration attached.
Morano moves to adopt resolution as written.
Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt resolution as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Senior Foreman of Public Works requests the City Council authorize the city clerk to begin the bid process for general contractors for the Kirby Avenue paving project.
Morano moves to approve request, authorize city clerk to begin bid process.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request, authorize city clerk to begin bid process. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
I hope so.
Senior Foreman Public Works requests City Council authorize the sale of a 2014 Ford Escape. Proceeds from the sale will go to the equipment budget line.
Morano moves to approve request.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Senior Foreman Public Works requests the City Council approve Grasshoppers, Inc. for the demolition of the grandstand in Phase 2 of the Veterans Stadium project. Grasshoppers was the lowest of 3 bids at $131,000.
Morano moves to approve request.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Senior Foreman Public Works requests the City Council approve the refurbishing of the Ridgewood Village and Cleveland basketball courts. There is money left from the Urban Initiative Grant in the amount of $84,907 for this purpose.
Morano moves to approve request.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Clerk requests the City Council approve the use of the Senior Citizens Center by the Board of Elections for early voting, primary election June 14th through the 24th, and general election on October 25th through November 3rd.
Morano moves to approve request.
Maflahe seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Maflahe to approve request. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Item number 12 has been withdrawn from the agenda. Item number 13, City Attorney requests the City Council rescind and replace Chapter 190 Solid Waste Ordinance.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on ordinance. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. An ordinance amending Chapter 190 Solid Waste of the Lackawanna Municipal Code to be rescinded in its entirety and replaced with the attached ordinance. Changes were approved at the meeting on April 21st, 2025.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt ordinance as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike? Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Attorney requests the City Council approve the resolution entering into an agreement with Erie County to prepare the city's tax bills.
Morano moves to receive and file act on resolution.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file act on resolution. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. A resolution permitting the City of Lackawanna to enter into an agreement with Erie County with respect to the preparation of the tax bills for 2025-2026 The anticipated cost will be approximately $10,500.
Morano moves to adopt resolution as written.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt resolution as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Comptroller requests the City Council approve the ordinance to transfer funds for the Veterans Stadium Rehabilitation Program.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to receive and file act on ordinance. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. An ordinance authorizing and the interfund transfer between the general fund and the capital fund in the amount of $467,567.40 for the Veterans Stadium Rehabilitation Lighting.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to adopt ordinance as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. City Comptroller requests the City Council approve the ordinance to create a revenue code for county aid and to also create an expenditure code, stadium demo, concrete bleachers, and basketball courts.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on ordinance. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. An ordinance amending the 2024-2025 budget ordinances to reflect the receipt of $800,000 from Erie County to Revenue Code County Aid and increasing Revenue Code Veterans Stadium Rehabilitation Lighting by $131,000 and basketball court refurbishment by $84,907.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt ordinance as written. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Brandon Falbo, Lackawanna Municipal Housing, requests the City Council approve his request for Commissioner of Deeds status, term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Morano moves to approve Commissioner of Deeds
Moretti
status.
second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve Commissioner of Deeds status. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Sunny Reds LLC, 1841 Abbott Road, David Beers, new owner, it's a restaurant and bar.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve business registration. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Public Auto Connect, 1754 Abbott Road, Nicholas Korsikowski, used car sales, formerly Trinity Motors.
Morano moves to table for further information.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to table until there's further information for this business registration. Maflahe?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Council members, any table items, old business you wish to bring up at this time? If not, then.
Council President, may I have
Yes,
a
you
minute?
may.
Yes.
Very good.
Just a quick update. I know City Hall, we've been getting a lot of calls regarding the Leave It on the Lawn program. Just a quick update. I just want to provide an update on the city's Leave It on the Lawn program. The Department of Public Works will continue collecting yard waste, weeds, leaves, and branches. However, we will no longer be picking up grass clippings. The change is a part of an effort to both promote more environmentally responsible practices and and balance the sanitation budget. After reviewing 3 years of garbage dumping invoices, we found from April through September, the city dumping costs increased by an average of $8,000 to $10,000 per month due to the weight of wet grass. The city currently pays $65 per ton to dispose of residential garbage. During the winter months, dumping costs average around $40,000 per month, while in the spring and summer, that figure rises to approximately $50,000 per month. By eliminating grass pickup, the city is projected to avoid approximately $50,000 in annual dumping fees. To be clear, this $50,000 is not a surplus funding. It represents the amount by which the sanitation budget could potentially be overdrawn without this change. Additionally, recycling costs have significantly increased. In 2022, the city paid $15 per ton for recycling, averaging about $1,400 per month. As of 2025, that cost has surged to $93.50 per ton, which monthly recycling expenses now average close to $4,000 per month. The rising cost further highlights the need to manage the sanitation budget responsibly and make adjustments where feasible. Last year, in an effort to avoid raising garbage fee, the city made the difficult decision to eliminate 3 sanitation positions. Fortunately, those employees were able to transfer into 3 open positions within the DPW street division. Thank you for your patience and understanding as the city works to sustain essential services while navigating rising costs.
Senior Foreman Gerken, thank you very much for that clarification.
Thank you.
Anyone table or items or old business? If not, then, yes.
No, I'd just like to say to the public, to let them know, Lackawanna Fire Department had gotten a call recently for a non-responsive young lady. Upon arrival, a neighbor was doing CPR on this young lady. Lackawanna Fire took over. They ended up shocking this person 5 times. And upon arrival of the ambulance, she was alert, verbal, and she was doing fine. And they did an outstanding job. Just kudos to the Lackawanna Fire.
Absolutely, we join you in that recognition. Thank you, Councilmember Moretti. Anyone else? If not, happy Cinco de Mayo. Morano moves for an adjournment.
Ready, second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adjourn meeting. Maflahe? Anderson? Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried.